so much for joining us for this edition of Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames here in Los Angeles. Today we are featuring our Best of Blue Oyster Cult interview clips, and the show is proud to be sponsored by Colombo's Italian Restaurant and Jazz Club in Eagle Rock. And here's where you can catch this show.
2.1 million viewers can catch Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames every first and third Friday of the month at 7:30 p.m. on Time Warner Channel 165 throughout North LA County areas, and now at focusinthemixwithdeniseames.com worldwide. And please make friends with the show on Facebook. Just search, you guessed it, Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames.
Like I said, today it's our Best of Blue Oyster Cult interview clips featuring Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom. They are coming up. Also, your viewer comments about this show. But first, it's entertainment news. Celebrate summertime in the heart of LA at the Eagle Rock Recreation Center, Concerts in the Park in Eagle Rock. The kickoff is July 3rd, and on several Sundays throughout July and August, you can enjoy free live bands and fireworks. The music entertainment includes jazz by Ronnie and the Classics, tribute bands for Santana and for Neil Diamond, as well as Cuban salsa and big band genres. Eagle Rock Rec Center is located at 1100 Eagle Vista Drive, and each concert in the park opens to the public at 3. The bands start at 4, followed by the fireworks at 8:30 p.m. For more info, call 323-255-5466 or look on the web at the Eagle Rock Chamber of Commerce website. Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames would like to thank Canada's premier rock and roll news website, bravewords.com, for posting our episodes on their metal site. CEO Metal Tim Henderson and his metal puppy recently posted our Best of Lemmy, Best of Rudy Zarzo, Leon Hendrix, and our Rex Brown of Pantera episodes. And they also helped make Rex Brown Part 2 the most watched episode on the internet to date. You rock Tim and your killer website, bravewords.com. And welcome to our newest member of the production team here at the TV show. Michael D. Francis is our new fabulous PA, and he's also an excellent scriptwriter, by the way. Coming up, as promised, it's our Best of Blue Oyster Cult interviews, so don't go away. Where can you enjoy free live music every night? Colombo's Italian Restaurant and Jazz Club, located in Eagle Rock, the heart of LA. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, serving the city since 1954. Authentic Italian cuisine, generously poured cocktails, all served in a casual, festive atmosphere. Come for the food, drinks, and friendly people. Stay for the free live music. And there's never a cover charge. Full bar area, private party room, catering, and takeout. For reservations, just call 323-254-9138. See you at Colombo. Vendome Wine and Spirits brings world-class vineyards to you with their wildly popular in-store wine tastings every Wednesday through Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Toluca Lake Burbank location, featuring
Wacky Wednesday,
just a buck a pour, the finest hand-picked wines from around the globe Fridays and Saturdays. Imported cheeses make every wine tasting experience at Vendome Toluca Lake complete. From early on Saturdays for
beer tasting.
Shop our massive beer and spirits varieties, snacks, cigars, gourmet baskets also in stock.
Vendome Toluca Lake is conveniently located on the corner of Cahuenga and Riverside.
Cheers!
My first band in junior high was a surf band. You know. Oh yeah, you know, it was very like others of my age, very much influenced by the Ventures and the Safaris and the Shantays and all the surf bands coming out of California at that time. You know, Beach Boys.
Tell us how you wrote Godzilla and why you came up with that song.
That was written. The guitar motif for that song was written in a hotel room in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. And listening to myself play it, Godzilla came into my mind, and the Godzilla was not the recent Godzilla, but the old plodding, slow, lumbering Godzilla of the original Toho movie with the Raymond Burr in it.
Don't Fear the Reaper. How did you write that song?
The guitar riff just sort of came to me, you know, in an automatic writing kind of a way, as did the first two lines of the lyric.
And which are?
All our times have come here, but now they're gone. And the rest of the story took about 6 weeks to flesh out, and actually quite a lot of work, you know. But then I recorded the demo with the TIAC 4-track recorder, which is one of the early affordable multi-track recorders. You know, now people do it on computers. You know, people that are new to the band should understand that we never were a pop band. You know, we were just sort of like an underground progressive band. You know, so for us to have any kind of a chart success was kind of flabbergasting to us.
Rolling Stone and Cream voted "Don't Fear the Reaper" the top single of that year that it came out.
At the time, I thought it would have good FM play and stuff, but I had no idea it was going to be as enduring or, you know, iconic or whatever, you know. But it was great. It all bumped up to arenas and you know, buses and trucks and all that stuff, you know.
And here you are, four decades later, and you know, I was at your show tonight. You just play those first few notes of "Don't Fear the Reaper," and everybody, thousands of people, just rose to their feet. You've got like 6 decades of ages out there that I saw for myself tonight, and everybody knows the words. Why do you think that song has resonated for so many decades? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's put in a time capsule, because it's still rated one of the top 10 songs of all rock and roll history in a lot of surveys.
Yeah, just about every list that there is, we're somewhere in the top 100, you know, and there's a lot of music to compete with. But I mean, you said resonate, and it does, and I can't really say why. You know, it just, I mean, everyone thinks about mortality in some way or another, you know, and that's what I was thinking about when I wrote it. So yeah, it does. It strikes a chord with people, and the guitar lick is just kind of nifty, you know. You know, I mean, I don't get tired of playing it and singing it.
Were you a singer first? Were you a songwriter first? How did you first get interested?
Going back to my childhood, I studied accordion.
Really?
Yes, but not very diligently. Never got out of the key of C, and when I got the big accordion with all the buttons on it, you know, I never really learned how most of them worked. But I did take lessons for about a year. Then I was a drummer and took up guitar sort of as a hobby, basically, and got better on guitar, and I knew better drummers than myself, so that's how that happened.
How did you form Blue Oyster Cult?
I kind of almost backed into it. I was 2 years into an engineering program at a little college in upstate New York, and decided not to pursue that, but in the meantime, you know, I'd gotten into a serious bar band and college band, and with Albert Bouchard, who also co-founded Blue Oyster Cult. A high school friend of mine was living in a college crash house, you know, or whatever they call that when some landlord rents a house to like 5 college kids. So that was Stony Brook University, and met Sandy Pearlman, who was one of the first rock critics, first people to write seriously about rock and roll, predating Rolling Stone, and he sort of got the idea of taking, you know, the core of Albert and myself and Andrew, the bass player, and starting to, you know, get a recording act together. So I went for the opportunity.
All right, and then finally you met Eric Bloom.
Well, fast forward, the Software Underbelly existed for probably almost 2 years before we met Eric, and then we met Eric, and Eric started to work for the band, and sort of right about that time, our original singer was starting to sort of burn out on the project, and when we were casting about for a replacement, you know, Eric was right there, and the rest is, as they say, history.
You're actually a living icon as far as millions of fans are concerned. A lot of people, their influence, or one of their influences, is Buck Dharma. Who are your influences?
Musically, I absorbed just about all kinds of pop music and a little bit of classical. My dad is a sax player. You know, he turned me on to a lot of jazz, and I think part of that rubs off in the way I play. You know, I kind of phrase a little bit like a horn player. I'd like to think, you know, that was an influence on me, and But guitar players, probably Chuck Berry, James Burton, from the early days of rock, and then for the hard rock guys, all the early English guys, Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, and Ritchie Blackmore was a big influence on me. The psychedelic San Francisco bands, Jerry Garcia.
Jimmy Eat World, Duran Duran, Dwight Yoakam, members of Black Eyed Peas and Korn. What do they have in common? They all use Perlman microphones. Super high quality mics at very affordable prices. Every Perlman mic is handmade in the U.S. using top-of-the-line tubes and technology with that classic look of the 60s. Each comes with power supply, handmade cable, shock mount, and carrying case. Customizing and Beatles-style pop filters also available. Call 818-763-4581 or visit PerlmanMicrophones.com. All the quality at a fraction of the cost. Perlman Microphones.
Don't miss Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames. The half-hour Hollywood TV series features rock star interviews, entertainment news, segment guests, and more. Tune in the first and third Friday night of every month at 7:30 p.m. on Time Warner's Channel 165 throughout North LA County, or watch the TV show on the web at focusinthemixwithdeniseames.com anytime around the world. Sponsored by Colombo's Italian Restaurant and Jazz Club in Eagle Rock. Authentic Italian cuisine, free live music nightly. Eric is out here from New York. His Blue Oyster Cult is actually based in New York, correct?
That's right.
All right, now, first of all, let's just get to the very bottom of it. Tell me how you actually got interested in music.
Well, that would go back to the 50s, actually, which, of course, you wouldn't remember, Denise, being such a child.
I wasn't here yet, but...
Yeah. Back in the 50s, legendary Alan Freed was DJ in New York, and a lot of other legendary DJs in New York, and before FM radio, AM radio, Top 40 ruled. And every day there'd be a countdown show, the Top 40 starting at 5 o'clock, ending with number 1 at 5 minutes to 8. And I would listen to that every day. I'd, go to sleep listening to the radio, and pre-color TV.
You're dating yourself.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I'm a geezer. Nothing I can do about it.
That's okay, but you're a legend.
Yeah.
You're a living legend. Okay.
Just call me Ledge.
There you go.
All right.
Eric Ledge Bloom. Hey, that's a new thing.
Please.
Okay.
Anyway, I just, always was into music, always liked it, always listened to it, and didn't play, and I guess around 16 years old or so, I bought a guitar and tried to teach myself a few chords.
We started in the 60s. I joined this band. Buck and I just celebrated our first gig ever 40 years ago last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
On July 3rd, 1969. Remember that year, Denise?
You
were a baby.
I was 3.
We played Fillmore East, which is a legendary rock mecca. The East and the West was run by Bill Graham, the legendary Bill Graham. He's probably the best promoter of all time. And Soft White Underbelly opened for Jethro Tull, and the headliner was the Jeff Beck Group, and Rod Stewart was the lead singer, and Woody from the Rolling Stones was the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how far back we go.
Jeez. You were working at Sam Ash. Tell me what happened.
Well, this is 1968, long before you were born, Denise.
I was born, but anyway, I couldn't speak yet.
I graduated college in '67, and I was in bands and all through college, and wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing with myself, because I still had the draft hanging over my head.
Mm-hmm.
And for all you watchers out there, this is the time of the Vietnamese War. And I took a job in a Sam Ash music store as not sure what was going to happen with the rest of my life. And some guys walked in to buy amps, and it was the members of a band called the Soft White Underbelly, which was the earliest incarnation of Blue Oyster Cult. And I wound up being the salesman. We started making some small talk, and to make a long story short, 5 months later, I was in the band. Clive Davis, who is a lot of people who watch American Idol might see Clive Davis now. He's a master of picking people and bands and saying, I think they'll be big, and they wind up being big. And Columbia Records at that time had no hard rock acts. So he might have been looking for one to be sort of an American Black Sabbath at that time. And our manager sort of touted us to be like that. And so he did an audition with us in the Columbia building, and He liked us.
1972, Cream magazine voted Blue Oyster Cult Best New Band. Now that's when heavy metal was just starting out. Why do you think you guys were picked out of everybody else as Best New Band? And Cream magazine, for those of you who weren't born back then, that was the cream of the crop of all rock magazines
back then. It was
back
out
then.
of Detroit, and Detroit was sort of the action central of heavy metal in American. The MC5 were probably the first hard rock band in America, and we loved them. We were on the same label earlier, and we really looked up to them. And Iggy Pop was, still, at that time was just starting, and we loved him. So we had a lot of people to look up to, and our first tour was opening for Alice Cooper, and we learned a lot from Alice, and it sort of changed the vibe of Blue Oyster Cult by sort of learning at Alice's knee. And one thing I'll get into is the sidebar to your question is Alice Cooper is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he ought to be. And the people who pick the bands for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Ohio, they should change their ways and put Alice Cooper in immediately, because if there's anybody who deserves to be in it, it's him.
Back to Blue Oyster Cult. You guys have released over 20 albums. I know some of them are repackaged and all that, but you have a huge catalog that spans decades. What is your favorite Blue Oyster Cult album?
Probably our third album, which is Secret Treaties, which was 1974.
And why is that?
But just a lot of good songs on it that seem to have stood up to the test of time. A lot of the songs are part of our live set. Songs like ME 262 and Harvester of Eyes. A lot of songs that we play a lot are on that record.
Get that perfect shot with Barbara Porter Photography. Barbara's innate talent and friendly approach is simply the best. Actors, musicians, that special someone, and pets. Her gift certificates make an excellent gift for anyone. And don't forget those holiday photos and greeting cards, a great idea for any occasion. To view some of her incredible work, visit myspace.com, Barbara Porter Photography, or call 818-347-9472.
One of my favorite songs, Burning for You.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite songs is a song that you actually co-wrote with somebody I'm also a fan of, Aldo Nova.
Right.
And that song is called?
Take Me Away.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about that, writing with Aldo Nova.
That was fun.
For those who recall the name, Aldo Nova had a big hit in the early 80s fantasy.
Fantasy, right. Sandy managed Aldo, and Aldo was opening for us when he had that hit. So Aldo moved to Long Island from Canada. He's from Montreal, and was living near me. And very often we'd hang out or get together and socialize. And one day he hands me a cassette. Remember cassettes?
What are those?
He hands me a cassette and he says, here's a song that I wrote. He says, everybody likes the music, but they don't like the lyric. Down in my basement, I had a little home studio, and I wrote the lyric to Take Me Away, put it on his track, brought it into, we were in pre-production for one of our records, and it started working.
Let's go ahead and talk about the heavy metal umlauts. Is that how you pronounce it?
The umlauts.
Umlauts,
Yeah.
umlauts. Okay, so Blue Oyster Cult was first, Motorhead was second, Queensryche was third, and then everybody latched onto it. So how did you guys come up with that? Because you're not German.
It's sort of lost in history, really, but I believe Alan Lanier, who was our original keyboard player, put the dots on. And why he thought it was, I think he thought it made it sort of heavy. I don't know, like a big German tank or something, I don't know. And he thought it was a cool thing to do, and everybody said, okay.
Well, I hang out with Lemmy from Motorhead often, and so he actually wrote out on a napkin at the Rainbow a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He goes, since you know Blue Oyster Cult and you know me from Motorhead, you should put the 2 dots on your name. So now it's Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames over, and the 2 dots are on my eye. And I have the napkin to prove it, folks.
Okay.
So now I
Signed by
match you.
Lemmy, that's a good idea.
So tell us what it's been like playing with Rudy, because it's been about, I think, 9 months you played with him now?
Yeah, most of 07, yeah.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about what it's like playing with Rudy.
Well, I've known Rudy since the early 80s, and actually because of Rudy, and actually I met Rudy through Eddie Ojeda from Twisted, And
Twisted Sister,
yeah,
that
we
is,
did
yeah.
we did the Hearing Aid thing together, which I guess you could look that up. That's on MySpace too, I think. And Ronnie Dio put together this We Are the World kind of thing for for metal folk. And since then, Rudy and I have been friends. And when we needed a bass player, he was available because Dio was doing Heaven and Hell, and it's worked out great.
And he is just a joy, as personally as well as professionally.
He's great. You know, when we actually have to do a rent-a-car thing between shows, Rudy rides with me, we hang, you know, it's terrific.
I believe he's been in your band for probably almost 3 years now.
Yes, we love Rudy. Who doesn't like Rudy Sarzo? And I mean, Rudy has his own fans, so it's great for us. And when I introduce him on stage, the audience goes crazy. It's a beautiful thing. Plus, we do a few little bits of his songs.
You have a number of websites, and one of the ideas I think you came up with for one of the websites is so interesting and original. You have these guitars that have artwork on it that represent a Blue Oyster Cult song.
Yes.
And you had 6, but now you're up to 10, and now you just take custom orders.
That's correct.
You had, I believe, an Agents of Fortune one?
You know, if I had it in front of me, I could tell you, but I did a Harvester of Eyes guitar. I did 2 different Reaper guitars.
Godzilla.
I did an Elric guitar, you know, a veteran's guitar. So there's, people could go to ericbloomguitars.com and take a look at them.
And then you have your own website.
ericbloom.net.
And then, of course, there's BlueOysterCult.com.
I was playing a game called Warhammer Online and got friendly with the developers of the game. And they asked me to come down and visit their studios. So Richie and I were both playing. I'm like Richie's second father, so I keep my eye on him for his family. He's 30 years old, but I'm always...
They've got you keeping an eye on
Yeah,
him?
well, he's sort of like my third son. I have 2 of my own, and I've sort of adopted Richie. And so Richie and I were gaming in this game together, and so we both flew down to the studios of Warhammer and bonded with the people who developed the game. And we told them that we might be interested in writing a song for them. So Richie and I wrote this song, that one of the developers wrote the lyrics, and Richie and I wrote the music, and I sing the song, called Kiss My Axe While I Drink My Beer. I'm currently playing Dungeons & Dragons online, and that's a lot like the old tabletop game that maybe people played when they were younger, and except it's online. And in the last decade, I've played a lot of World of Warcraft, and I stopped playing that about 3 years ago. Then I went from that to Conan online, and then played Warhammer for quite a while. Also, what I've been doing is writing for a magazine called Massive Online Gamer. And now I'm currently playing, actually it's almost a kid's game called Wizard 101, which is a lot of fun. If there are any parents watching this and you have kids who like video games, this is a game you can play with your kids. There's this whole area called Grizzleheim, which is all full of bears. So I said, oh, you ought to have a quest called Does a Bear Sit in the Woods? And they thought that was very funny. So I wrote the quest for them, and then I did the voiceovers for playing one of the bears that gives the quest. And they said it is now up and running, my quest, and it is called Does a Bear Sit in the Woods? And I am playing a character called Snorri Oysterbloom. I'm actually in a video game finally, which is a lot of fun.
Up next, it's your viewer comments. We could be reading yours.
Vendome Wine and Spirits brings world-class vineyards to you with their wildly popular in-store wine tastings every Wednesday through Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Toluca Lake Burbank location, featuring
Wacky Wednesday.
just a buck a pour. The finest hand-picked wines from around the globe Fridays and Saturdays. Imported cheeses make every wine tasting experience at Vendome Toluca Lake complete. From early on Saturdays for
Beer tasting.
shop our massive beer and spirits varieties, snacks, cigars, gourmet baskets also in stock.
Vendome Toluca Lake is conveniently located on the corner of Cahuenga and Riverside.
Cheers! Where can you enjoy free live music every night? Columbo's Italian Restaurant and Jazz Club, located in Eagle Rock, the heart of LA. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, serving the city since 1954. Authentic Italian cuisine, generously poured cocktails, all served in a casual, festive atmosphere. Come for the food, drinks, and friendly people. Stay for the free live music. And there's never a cover charge. Full bar area, private party room, catering, and takeout. For reservations, just call 323-2
254-9138. See you at Columbo's.
Jimmy Eat World, Duran Duran, Dwight Yoakam, members of Black Eyed Peas and Korn. What do they have in common? They all use Perlman microphones. Super high quality mics at very affordable prices. Every Perlman mic is handmade in the U.S. using top-of-the-line tubes and technology with that classic look of the 60s. Each comes with power supply, handmade cable, shock mount, and carrying case. Customizing and Beatles-style pop filters also available. Call 818-763-4581 or visit PerlmanMicrophones.com. All the quality at a fraction of the cost. Perlman Microphones.
And now it's time for your viewer comments. We got a bunch of comments about the TV show in general, and we would like to share them with you. First off, Dutch says, hope to get you to international status. Love your work. And Rick Weston says, oh, huge #FF to @Denise Ames TV for being one of the very few music journalists left worth watching. Obviously, we got that one off Twitter. And let's see, Jason Knox says, your show is all over Latin America also. You're doing an awesome job. Jen Fernandez says, Systematic Tragedy. They were on the Rex Brown of Pantera Part 2 episode. Love them, love them, love them. And Leslie Sokol sent this in. I learned about your show from my friend Dave Perlman. He, of course, is the advertiser on the show for Perlman Microphones. Initially, I was only interested in his piece on the mic, but I must say I'm very impressed with you and your show. You have a wonderful presence, grace, and ease in your style. I particularly like the fact that you are so present in your interviews. Your questions are intelligent and involved. You make it seem so easy. You know your stuff, girl. You made a fan out of me, and that is not easy to accomplish. Keep up the great work. And Brian Guntrell says, thank you very much for your excellent TV shows and for all the excellent interviews and news. And finally, Johnny Red says, a little while ago, I happened upon your video interview with Richie Ramone of the Ramones. And then a few days ago, I saw you and your page on Facebook. Your interviews are fun, funny, and rock and rolling. Really great to see you and all the rockers and learn a bit about their experiences and personalities. Thank you so much, you guys, for posting all those wonderful comments, and thanks for the encouragement. If you would like to post a comment, just hit me up on Facebook. Just search Focus in the Mix with Denise Ames, click on like, and post on that wall, and we could be reading yours. That does it for this edition of the show. I certainly hope you enjoyed our Best of Blue Oyster Cult featuring Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom. And if you are interested in getting a pet, please only adopt animals versus purchasing them. And always remember to spay and neuter your four-legged kids. I am your host, Denise Ames, and I want to say thank you for letting me rock your world.